Y'all, it's Cindy Cobb with Around the Town in the South, and I'm in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm here at the fairgrounds. They're having a humongous weekend this weekend. Y'all get out. I'm sitting here with Frank Foster. He's a country music star. If you haven't heard him, go YouTube him. He's got some amazing songs. I'm lucky enough and fortunate enough to be sharing his story with y'all, and I'm excited that you're here. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Cindy, for coming. We welcome you.
Well, we love showcasing our southern musicians, and you're definitely one being from Louisiana.
Yes, ma'am, that's what we are. We're southern to the bone, ain't no doubt about that.
That is awesome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, just a regular dude that wrote a few songs is what I tell everybody. Grew up in North Louisiana, very, very, very small town, not even a town, out in the country, 20 miles from any town.
Oh, wow.
Had a lot of different dreams growing up and did a lot of different things before I picked up the guitar, but when I finally did, I was out in the Gulf of Mexico working on a drilling rig and started playing some songs for some guys out there, and they really inspired me to take a shot at it. That's what I did. I took the leap of faith, and 10 years later, we're still doing it. So those guys
awesome.
were right. They were right.
I'll tell you, that drill will really make that, being out there on that water drilling will make you think about life on it.
It will. I tell people all the time, if you need a fire lit under a dream, go out there and roughneck for about 2 or 3 years.
So you've been singing for about 10 years now, and I know that, tell us a little bit about, you went with your own label.
I did.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It was just, you know, you get to town, and you just like anybody else. And when I say town, I mean Nashville. My wife and I, we moved to Nashville in 2009. You get to Nashville and you don't know what to do. You walk into a town and you're lost when you get there. I had all these songs. I knew they were good songs. I played them for too many people around campfires and on drilling rigs. I knew they were good. But I was just, it was never my personality, I guess, to go knock on every door in Nashville and say, hey, look at me. So I went and done songwriters nights and things like that, trying to get discovered, I guess you would say back then. And then I was just like, you know what, there's got to be a different way. I was making decent money offshore. My wife at that time was a full-time RN. She was doing okay money-wise.
Oh, wow.
So we decided, you know what, instead of us sitting in town waiting on somebody to find us, why don't we just go make an album and we'll go bring it to the people?
Yeah.
So that's what we did. So we done that a couple of times, and then we was just like, it was just a formality, like we're putting out our own albums, we should form our own record label. So once I got that far into it, I knew I would never sign with a label. And you sacrifice fame, but that's okay. I didn't get into this business to be famous. I got into this business to put out the type of music that I like and the type of music that I know that people want to hear.
Right.
And there's a lane created for that, because country music has went so many different ways that there's a lane for me. And so we've gotten that lane and tried to hog that lane up, as I like to say. So having our own label is a good thing. I enjoy that aspect of it.
Well, you have more control over it.
We do. We have more control. I was able to, just small victories. You know, our third or fourth album, I think it was our fourth album. You know, woke up one morning, talked to my wife, and I was like, you know what? We've got our own label. I want to just, not that it matters to anybody else but me, but I want to walk in Walmart and I want to walk in Best Buy and see my CD on the shelf.
Oh, awesome, yeah.
We can figure this out. So you know what? Her and I hustled and got on the phone and we figured out how to do that. And amazingly enough, where we're sitting, there's right here in Jackson, Mississippi, Malaco.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got in touch with Tommy Couch Jr. over there, who's become a friend of mine. And my next 2 albums were on the shelves in Walmart and Best Buy as an independent artist, and I thought that was one of the coolest things ever. You know?
Well, if you can hear the background, he is playing tonight here at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, boys are getting warm
and
out there, y'all.
They're warming up, and it already sounds great. Well,
Yeah.
Going back to your story, I love that, because a lot of musicians, they get into it, they have their stories to tell, and it's squashed because politics.
Right.
Especially within an industry. I love that you can control. I've listened to your songs. The storytelling is amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, that's what draws us in.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what makes us love any kind of music, especially country music. That's our roots in the South, that and blues. Tell us a little bit about I know that you've had some top 10 songs.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about which song it was, because I want y'all, if you haven't checked him out, I want you to check him out. I love that he's independent, but I love that he's been touring for so long, and people know who you are.
They do, man, they do. And then, talking about the top 10s, our top 10s and actually top 5s albums, you know, have been an amazing thing. Like, just another one of those things where you can pat yourself on the back and you know you're doing the right thing. You'll never get an ACM or a CMA, but when you put an album out, and it's one of the top, I think our highest one was we had the number 2 selling album in the country.
Wow.
The first week it came out, and you'll never get an award from the political industry in Nashville and that whole circle of country music, but they can't deny you.
Right.
You know, and I make the same adage all the time, but it's nice every year we try to put out an album, or every 18 months at least, and every album I've had since my second one has charted higher and higher and higher and higher.
That's awesome.
Got several top 10s and several top 5s, and it's just nice to know that without all the hoopla of look at this person, and they can paint them like they're so big, but they're really not. You know,
right.
We're out here putting rear ends in the seats and selling albums, and that's a lot more than a lot of folks on TV are doing, I promise you.
Well, and not only that, you think about the team that you surrounded yourself with.
Yes.
Bus drivers just came to the door, and everybody's so friendly, and you can tell the tight knit. You can't do this on your own. We talked earlier about his wife traveling with him up until they had their children, which is awesome. She understands the work of the road and how it works and things, but you cannot do things without a team, and I'm talking about everybody in your band.
That's right.
Everybody that sets this up, the people you meet along the way help set you up for the success that you're in, is the way I've always looked at it.
Absolutely. That's been absolutely one of the biggest things with this operation is the people we surround ourselves with. Like you said, it started off with me and my wife, and this was our baby, and we started building it, and then you get guys in the band, and they get in the band, and they buy in,
right?
You know, and everybody's riding for the brand,
right?
And you can keep your circle small and tight, but you can keep that circle busy,
right?
And interested and moving forward, and you know.
And that makes a difference, because you are actually making a living, changing the lives of the ones around you and the ones that hear your music.
Yeah.
But you're making a living doing what you love.
That's right.
And that's what matters.
That's right. And like you said earlier, we're bringing it unfiltered and uninfluenced by any outside entity. It's us. I write the songs, I bring them to the band, and they tell me, hey, that's cool. Hey, no, go back and redo that one. We don't like it. And they got the power to tell me that, and that's okay. But I love putting the music out, and good, bad, or indifferent. It was my decision to put it out, and my fans will either tell me, hey, that was great or not. You know.
Well, I know that they love it. If you go on YouTube, you can check it out. But you can also go on iTunes, and you can buy his albums. He's got several albums. You can actually listen to it. I love that. Let's talk a little bit about touring. I know we're touring. I know this is a totally different year. You've got a lot on the books now after sitting for the last year. We're talking about the pandemic a few minutes ago. I know that's been a big impact on your family unit, as far as your whole band, your family, not being able to travel. COVID kind of put us down for just a little bit. Tell us what it's like to be able to book these shows and get out and be one-on-one, face-to-face with people.
It's amazing. Like we were talking about before we came on, just being in Hitchcock, Texas last night.
Yes.
We played a festival over there, and you show up and it's outside and it's beautiful scenery, and people show up in droves, and it's just people are ready to be out again. And to open up my calendar, my touring calendar, and see it filling up all the way through the fall is an amazing feeling. None of us expected what 2020 brought.
Right.
In a million years, we would have never thought anything like that could ever happen.
Right.
It did. There are some positives that came out of it. It made me, not that I ever got relaxed or expected what goes on out here every day to keep going on for 20 years, but it made me appreciate what it went on the last 8 or 9 years, and like, man, I was really out there living my dream, and I was soaking it up, but it got to the point where I was almost used to it.
You weren't sucking it. You were sucking it up, but you weren't soaking it in.
There you go.
And there's a difference.
There you go.
There's a difference.
Yeah, and I promised myself, like I started a thing since we came back out on the road last month and just started going back full time again. I make the band get together in here, and we take a picture together before every single show every night now. And just little things like that, because you never know.
You never know.
You never know now. So I'm going to soak it up, soak it in, and then soak it in again from now on. So.
Well, we're excited to have you here in Jackson, Mississippi. Y'all go to his Facebook page. He's got a Facebook and Instagram. Follow them. We always want to support our local artists, but especially those who step outside of that box and create something for themselves within an industry like country music. So we love what you're doing. We love that you were here. If y'all don't have plans, get out here. I don't know what the entrance is, but it's not much. They have a big...
It ain't much. Come on down here.
It's not, I mean, for what you get to see, there's also rides, all kinds of things down at the fairground this weekend. If you're local or within an hour or two's drive, come on. You'll want to be here. Chad West is playing first. He's a local yokel. Y'all know Chad. I think he's going on, like, what, 7?
I think so.
And Frank will play after for about an hour and a half. So pop out here. Remember to hashtag Frank Foster Music and hashtag Around the Town and South, because we love to see where you are. We love having musicians like yourself. You're making a big difference with your songs and with your life, and we appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Last thing, I love asking this question.
Okay.
You're like, oh!
Yeah.
If there's one thing that your family of audience, I'm going to call them your fans, if they're your family, the bottom line, that don't know about you, something that you love to do, something that, you know, one of my guests said, well, I mean, I eat suckers all day long.
Right.
Nobody knows I eat suckers. I'm like,
Right.
what? He said,
Yeah.
I blow pops all day long. So, you know, that's just something that you do. But anyway, what is one thing that your fans may not know about you?
Gosh, there's so many things that I feel like they don't know. I feel like I'll tell you a funny story, and then I'll try to answer that question. We was in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, about 3 years ago, and I walked off the bus, and there was a family and their kids, and the kid was a fan.
Oh.
And I walked up and spoke to him, and when I started walking off, I was in gym shorts and a t-shirt and some Nikes. And when I was walking off, I heard that kid say to his dad, well, I didn't know Frank Foster would dress like that, you know. So, yeah, that just shows, you know, perspective, what people, you know, they see you and they think that you get out in your cowboy hat all day.
But the best thing about that is that kid got to see realism.
I know, and his dad, I heard his dad tell him, I didn't even turn around, but I was listening as I walked away, and his dad told him, he said, son, he's just a regular person too. He wakes up and puts on shorts just like we do. He doesn't get dressed into the show.
Right.
But probably awesome. Something that people don't know about me, but they probably do. There's a few things. I played some college basketball.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I can still beat anybody in country music in basketball one-on-one. Somebody come try me, please.
Please do it, please.
Please come try me.
Video it, because I want to see it.
No age limit required. I'll be the oldest guy there and beat everybody there.
That's hilarious.
I eat about, when I say a gallon, I mean a gallon. It's the most unhealthy thing in my life, probably. But I've got a popcorn machine upstairs at my house. That was my splurge when I got a little success. It's like I'm buying a popcorn machine. So I wanted to smell it like it smelled when I walked in my high school gym on a Friday night game. So I eat about a bucket of popcorn, about that deep, at least 3 times a week. And it's terrible. Sometimes I'll skip supper just so I can eat my popcorn at night.
That's awesome.
Popcorn buff, and I put on gym shorts from time to time, folks. That's all I can give you.
Well, the thing about the popcorn is it draws you back to your youth.
It does.
And it helps you stay youth. And I'm sure your kids, I mean, you have a 4-year-old.
Yes.
I bet he loves that popcorn.
Oh, man, he loves making it, that's for sure.
What's your favorite song?
Do you have one? Song of mine or just ever?
No, yours.
Oh, my gosh. I tell people like this all the time. Your song, I write them all. Mm-hmm. So I think I've written 81 songs now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're all out in the world, and they're all like your kids. You love them
they're
all.
Your babies.
You love them all, but you're always patting the one on the back that's doing good at the moment. So I don't know. It would be something more obscure that people wouldn't think. I wrote something on my 5th or 6th album, I think. It's called Pete and John. It's about my father and his brother. They just, you know, they've grown up together. They're a year apart, and they're just country and dirt floor poor, and they grew up and they both went to the military, and they both come home and worked on drilling rigs, and they both hunted and fished, and just heroes.
It's a beautiful song.
So Pete and John, Romance in the South is probably up there for me. Something else I wrote that touches on my mom and dad's love story, and just, oh my gosh, it's just, so those two right there, probably, whether they're my favorites or not, the most important to me, because I've seen the way it affected the people that I wrote them about.
This means so much to you.
I'm going to tell something about 2 old tough boys, Pete and John, and I'll let y'all go.
I love it.
When I put that, before I even put that album out, I sent that album down there to them, and I came down to visit a few days later, and pulled around the back of the house, and they was listening to it, and I caught them in a moment that you never thought you'd caught those two
Now, I would have tears if I were you.
Yeah, I just kind of acted like I wasn't paying attention, but I broke them old boys up a little bit.
That is awesome. What an honor that would be to have your son feel that way, much less write a song and share it with the world. That's got to be a great feeling for them and for you.
Yeah, it is. And like when you grow up like you did and I did, the people, I mean, you don't have to look far to find a hero.
No.
I mean, the guys, my uncles and aunts and mamas and daddies and grandfathers and grandmas, I mean, your heroes are right there in front of you.
That's right.
You know, and you pay homage to those folks. We wouldn't be here without them. So
that's exactly right. Well, I have really enjoyed learning about you.
Thank you, Cindy.
I cannot wait to see where you go and watch your kids grow up. I told him, I said, I stalked all of your pages. I didn't find out a lot of information because y'all know I like to hear things that are, you know, that I haven't heard before, especially when I'm doing interviews. But I really love your family unity. I love your story. I love that you post and you share that with us. It's like we're a part of your family. I'm sure your fans feel that way too, which I'm a fan. So, last question.
Okay.
What, looking forward, you know, we cannot predict the future. We learned that in 2020.
Yeah.
But where do you see yourself within 5 to 10 years?
Hopefully, I've got 4 or 5 more albums out, and I keep expanding my fan base and my circle, and we're touring. That's the dream. I'm right in the middle of everything I wanted to do. I'm putting out music that people want to hear. When we put tickets on sale, people buy them. And that's whether we're down here or we're in Ohio. It doesn't matter. So I just want to continue to keep doing the things I'm doing, keep progressing as a songwriter without getting out of my box.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And try to become a better performer. That's something that I hang my hat on is performance. A lot more, in my opinion, goes into performing than just standing there singing.
Oh, absolutely.
And I try to make it look like a wrestling match.
So speaking of that, get out here and watch them tonight. Y'all, thank y'all for joining us. Like I said, go follow Frank Foster Music on Facebook and Instagram. You're going to be surprised with some of the songs that you hear and some of the albums, how many albums he's put out, especially as an independent. So thank y'all for joining us, and we'll see you around the town.